Well, good morning, everyone. Thomas Montgomery here. It's a beautiful Wednesday morning, November 17th, 2021. We get together with our distribution partners most weekday mornings this time, talk success stories, strategies, techniques, and to support each of you. We have our white label partners, and our white label partners are really our leadership team in terms of their ability to work with clients, mentor clients, and control the client relationships. We have affiliates, free and easy to be an affiliate, just refer in and get paid. And then, of course, we're continuing to develop our team of regional vice presidents. Our regional vice presidents oversee a group of white label partners to support them and, frankly, hold them accountable. So with that being said, we've got a really good topic, an important topic today. Should be shown on your screen here, and it is about landing pages and credibility considerations. I'll be honest with you, I just kind of pushed this credibility consideration in based upon a conversation I had with one of you this morning. We'll get to that in a minute. That'll be about a 5-second conversation. Okay, so let's start with landing pages, which is our primary topic today. Without doubt, it is best practice to have a landing page to direct your prospects to. And so these can be prospects that are generated online, prospects that are bought, place for referral sources to refer into, where you direct people after you've educated. So it's true, regardless of the source or the origin of the prospect, it is best practice to have a landing page to drive people into. And I'll describe more here what that means. So I'm not a technical person. We have Scott, and I'll do another introduction of him here in a minute. He is our chief marketing officer. He'll work with you on this and implementing it. So he knows a million times more than I do, but I know enough of its importance that I wanted to share it with you today. So in my words, Scott would give you probably a more elaborate description, but to me, landing pages are simple websites, often just one-page websites. So they're not loaded up with about us and our history and bios. They're simple, straightforward, providing some brief content for the reader, and they're designed to collect contact information from your prospect. So it helps start them into your sales funnel. If you're not working with a landing page now, I think it's probably costing you business. It's probably reducing your income. And so that's why we're discussing it. Now, in some cases, the landing page can first collect basic prospect information. When I say basic, I mean basic. You want to collect as little information as possible so you can follow up with them, but they're not likely to bail out of the process. So best practice would be collect their name, their email, and their phone, and then stop, because the more you start asking for, the more likely that they'll just move away from that page. But if you have those 3 pieces of information, you can follow up, and we'll talk about follow-up and automation. So then after you gather the basic prospect information, it can allow them to progress through a subsequent step. So you might say, oh, well, Tom, just say what you're saying. So have one page where they enroll. No, I'm not saying that at all. It would be different than that. It might be 2 pages. The first page is the landing page that they see, where it gives them a brief overview of the proposition, which we'll talk about here in a minute. And then if they complete that, of course, you've captured that information. But if they complete that, then it takes them to the next step where they could actually enroll, terms and conditions. Because if you put all that on one page, less people would complete the 3 basic fields of information so you could follow up. So it may be a layered approach. Thirdly, a well-designed landing page should have built-in automation sequences, and those could be based on, we recommend both emails and or text to follow up with prospects who don't convert. So in other words, let's say we've got Augustus on the line here. So let's say Augustus goes to my landing page and he puts in his name, email, and phone. The landing page then takes him to that next step to agree to terms and conditions. And let's say Augustus doesn't do that. Well, that's the beauty of the technology and the automation, is that the system knows that Augustus started, he did step one, the basic information, but he didn't do step two. So now it's going to follow up with him through ideally both emails and text to prompt him to complete step two or to schedule a call with me. That's just a theoretical example, but hopefully that helps you understand where we're trying to go with it. So landing pages are huge. If we look at the highest performers that we work with, our referral partners, frankly, regardless if they're an affiliate or a white label partner, they use landing pages. Now, they may have created themselves, may have had someone else create them, they may work with Scott. I don't care about where it comes from. I'm just clarifying that you're probably not going to generate a 6 to 7 figure income. Probably not without landing pages. Now, if you can prove me wrong, that's fine. Whatever works for you. But I'm just sharing with you what our top performers do. I've shared this with you, and it's factual. And I'll say it one more time, and probably there's no reason to go back to it. One of our top producing referral partners, Jeff, a real person, earlier this year, we worked with him on kind of perfecting a landing page. Scott did. Scott's the architect. And so Scott would love to help you as well. And I'll give you Scott's information here as we scroll down the page. In 1 month, Jeff had almost 1,000 prospects hit his landing page. And we had, I think it was 53 to 54%, over 400 people enrolled in the Access to Capital in 1 month. And there was an automation sequence that prompted and followed up. Jeff's the type of guy, he doesn't really want to talk to prospects. So never in that sequence was he talking to prospects. So I'm not advocating for that. I'm just giving you a success story that landing pages can work and automation is your friend. All right. Now, second major bullet here. You may want to have 2 different landing pages, and we use the term campaign because one campaign that we offer is Access to Capital. A different campaign that we offer is the 60-day credit sweep. I realize that some clients enroll in both, but you need to be clear. What is it that I'm trying to promote in this campaign? What's the message? What's the call to action? Who's my target audience? Now, many of you have figured out that you'll automatically get as many 60-day credit sweep clients as you can handle. Not that it requires much of your work, but the point is you can get as many 60-day credit sweep clients as you could reasonably want if you lead with Access to Capital, because if these folks have credit deficiencies, we find that out, and this becomes a very organic upsell, if you will. However, some of you are white label partners on the 60-day credit sweep, and you're actually going out to the market with that, and that's fine. But again, we would recommend that you have a landing page to drive people to that collects basic information and has automated sequences to follow up with those that don't convert. One of you that's on the line here, I'll leave the name out, but really successful in driving in leads. He has a database of over 5,000 leads that he's marketing to, contacts, I should say, that he's marketing to, and so far has submitted in hundreds. I don't know the exact number, but hundreds within the past couple of weeks. Well, with that, the conversion rate has been slow because he's not using a landing page. He's not using automated sequences. And so it's just kind of a one-time hit, because what we know in the rules of marketing, it often takes multiple exposures for someone to have the willingness, the confidence, the desire to move forward. And so that's where these automated sequences are huge. And it doesn't require your effort each time. Again, it's emails going out on a specific interval, or a text going out on a specific interval, or a combination of the two. You and I really don't know from each client, do they respond better to emails or texts? And so a good campaign, I think, would integrate both, because you just don't know what the person is going to be the most responsive to. Any questions so far before I roll forward? Any questions on the importance of landing pages? And in fact, you may want to have two, one for each campaign if you're marketing both. Any questions so far? And you just put the questions in the Q&A, the question and answer. It's like chat on Zoom. Okay, so let's move forward here. So in terms of access to capital, I think there might have been some confusion. So I want to clarify that. There's different, we'll call it pitches or propositions, but it's still feeding into the access to capital program. So it's still a campaign, the same campaign. We only have two campaigns. I guess the third would be if you're trying to add white label partners, if you're one of our regional vice presidents, but ignoring that for a moment, there's different propositions that could be listed on your landing page. Some of you like leading with the funding proposal pitch. Some of you like to lead with the $100,000 guaranteed funding to start or grow a business pitch. Others really like what we rolled out last week, the easy approval business funding pitch. It's up to you. And you could make some reference of each, but I would recommend visiting with Scott, and you can see his information here. I haven't gotten down that far yet on the page, but you could have landing pages, but I'm not saying that you need to have 3 different landing pages. What I'm trying to clarify is you need to decide what your pitch is on your landing page. Is it to encourage people to get a funding proposal so they can find out what they qualify for? If so, then base it on that. Or is it off of the more traditional $100,000 guaranteed to start and grow a business? Then your hot buttons are probably the fact that there's no upfront cost, minimum of 100K guaranteed, no minimum credit score to enroll, no minimum time in business to enroll. Or alternatively, if you're wanting to lead with the easy approval business funding that we recently rolled out, then you probably highlight the low credit, the high maximum loans, the low interest rates, the access to regardless of a startup or mature business, and the fact that it's from a national bank. So again, I'm not here to help you develop the campaign because that's not my skill set, but I do want to clarify, while all three of these are credible and effective pitches, you'd want to decide on one. And I'm certainly not suggesting that you should go out right away and have 3 landing pages, one for each of these. I would recommend starting with one, getting some volume through, and then if you wanted to launch others, you could. Frankly, with the drip campaign that we talked about, I call it automation sequence, but with a drip campaign, you could have any one of these, and then as different emails and text are going out, you could bring the prospect's attention to these different elements. So again, Scott will work with you on that. And one further clarification, there's been some confusion where people have come to us and said, okay, I just want to do this. I just want to do this easy approval. Well, the easy approval business funding is a type of funding that happens after we have the loan package built. So the client still enrolls in the Access to Capital program. They still pay you the $2,500 refundable deposit. Obviously, there's no upfront cost to them, so that comes from the first tranche of funding. Then we build their loan package, and then we go to funding. So I had brought this to your attention last week, and it's on the website now to let you know that it's a new bank relationship, but people don't go directly to this. This is one of the funding options once the loan package is created. Hopefully that's clear. Okay, so again, Scott Stroud's our Chief Marketing Officer. Scott is a good man. He's credible. He's a straight shooter. He's not a salesman. He has the technical expertise to help you if you want. He was the architect of Jeff's system, where he had over 400 conversions in 1 month. So if you want Scott's help, you can email him, get on his schedule, and go from there. And many of you have done that. And I've had nothing but positive, consistently positive feedback. Scott's a good man, and you can visit with him and decide if you want his help in developing a landing page and sequences, great. And if not, I don't care. He doesn't care. He's busy. I just want you to be successful. But I would reach out and talk to him regardless, because if I were you, I'd be picking his brain, if nothing else. All right, so now we're on to the credibility topic, and it's real simple, but please don't try to run a 6 or 7 figure business using a personal grade email account. So if you're using Yahoo, Gmail, Hotmail, American Online, or what have you to run your business off of, that's a mistake. Here's a great example. It's a terrible example, but it's a real example. So this morning, we've got a white label partner. And so I talked to him briefly yesterday, and he said, Tom, why aren't you inviting me to the daily Zooms? And I said, well, everybody's invited. Once you register once, you don't have to re-register. And so this morning, I was out of the office, and I said, okay, Dan, when I come into the office today, Wednesday, I will email you the registration link and make sure you have it. So I sent it to him, and then I called him this morning. Hey, Dan, did you get it? Nope. That's interesting. Confirm the email, and it was a Yahoo address. I said, oh, okay, well, I'll send it to you again. And I sent it to him again. Did you get it, Dan? Nope. Well, Yahoo, Gmail, American Online, these personal grade emails, they're designed for consumers, not for business owners like you are. And so what happens is there's algorithms that they have, and often if there's links or attachments, then those emails don't get delivered to you. And that's what I was explaining to Dan this morning. Dan, how many emails are you missing? How many clients are trying to buy from you that you don't even know, Dan? Because we've just proven, I've sent you 2 emails this morning that you don't have. And I recommend you check his spam filters or whatever it's called with Yahoo. But there's just, it's a fallacy to think that you're going to run, in my opinion, just my opinion, a 6 to 7 figure annual income as a white label partner running off of a personal grade email account. I just recommend not doing it, because email deliverability is an issue. And the problem with emails not being delivered is a lot of times you don't know, right? We have a client, again, I'll leave his name out, but he came aboard recently, had a good first tranche financing. So he got funding and he paid his invoice on time. Everything's good there. But he's not engaged with the implementation because he doesn't, and we can track in our CRM if the email's been received or not, if it bounced or not, if it's been opened. He's not opening any of his emails. And so what's the point? Please don't be lured into using what may be simple, which would be Yahoo, Gmail, American Online, or what have you, to run your business off of. It doesn't look professional. Your deliverability is probably going to be impacted. And so I recommend that you develop a URL that's branded to you, and then you have an email that is based off of that. And if you need help, well, we can do this for you. It's fine. It's easy, but we don't want you to not be successful. And I believe that you're much more likely to be unsuccessful if you cannot communicate with us and or with your clients because you've got some shitty email service that's not allowing deliverability. So that's my opinion. So you can do it yourself. You can go to GoDaddy or what have you. If you need help, we can do it for you. But the bottom line is just please don't run a business off of this. And this is a true credibility factor when it comes to applying for business credit and financing. We don't want clients to have on their loan applications these consumer grade emails. It makes them look less professional. All right, so we're to questions now. So I'm going to shrink this down so we can see the whole screen, the whole page on the screen, I should say. And what questions, comments, concerns do any of you have on the topic matter today? Most of what we talked about is the importance of landing pages. We recommend that you have them. And I'm not the expert, don't profess to be the expert. I would just email Scott, if I can highlight it, get on his schedule, and he can help you further. But does anyone have questions on landing pages and credibility concerns? All right, so Tyrone's asking a good question. So I'm going to take it a bit deeper than what Tyrone typed. So again, I'm not an expert in this, but let's just differentiate between websites and landing pages. So websites often have a lot of information in multiple pages, where a landing page is simple. It limits the ability of people to navigate around, because you're just trying to give them a quick overview and move them to the next step, which is providing their contact information to you. So with that, you're right, Tyrone. You may in fact want to have multiple landing pages if you're going to have multiple campaigns. But with the drip sequences, you can compensate for that some by helping people understand the different highlights of the proposition. Because again, all of this is about the access to capital. Someone doesn't go into this without being in access to capital. Someone doesn't get this without being in access to capital. And this is meant to drive them into access to capital. So yes, if you wanted to have multiple landing pages, Tyrone, for the small business certification page or other pitches, of course, but just keep in mind, what are you trying to accomplish? A website might be more complicated, more multiple pages, more information, but what we're discussing here is a landing page, which should be simple, eliminates or minimizes the chance that the client's going to navigate away, and you're trying to collect their prospect information to move them forward in the sales funnel. All right. Augustus asks, I recommend Augustus and everyone else. I don't know what's best for you or how to design it. You know, there's some strategy discussions that need to be made, but I strongly encourage reaching out to Scott. He's the expert on it. So I don't want to speak to what would be best for you or what you have in place, what have you, but it's free and easy to reach out to Scott, Augustus, and others. So I encourage you to do so. Now, once a prospect has become a client, then you won't continue to feed them into the landing page. So I think there's an element of confusion with some. So the landing page is to drive your prospects to help aid in their conversion, to help them become a client. And as I mentioned, depending upon your campaign, it may be that it automatically takes them to the next step to agree to terms and conditions, or maybe just collects the information so you can do whatever your next step is. But all that needs to be thought out. Who else has any questions, comments, or concerns on the importance of landing pages? The recognition that we have two different campaigns. You may or may not want to have a landing page for each. But ultimately, if there's just one takeaway from today, just reach out to Scott. If I can highlight, he's the resident expert. He's the architect. He's developed so many of these, including Jeff's, with over 400 conversions in a month. Think for yourself. Many of you are insurance agents. If you could write 400 key person policies this month in November, what would that do for your budget? You'd probably be one of the top producers in your organization if you wrote 400 key person policies in 1 month. Well, that's the beauty of the model. The access to capital, there's no upfront cost. We get them in, we find out very organically, very naturally, what issues they have that's impacting their credibility or completeness of their loan package. And then it's just an organic conversation to help them. So if they need help with their credit, then it's an easy conversation. If they don't have a key person policy, it's an easy conversation. That's why so many of you that are really good at what you do love the Access to Capital program, because you establish a legitimate, credible, and legal contractual relationship with the client, and it puts you in the position of the resource to help them with other areas that they may have deficiencies in. All right, who else has any questions, comments, or concerns on today's topic? Are we good? All right, well, thanks everyone. We'll see you back tomorrow morning. Please, please, please reach out to Scott. get on his schedule, pick his brain if nothing else. And you could just say, hey, I heard that you helped Jeff create a landing page that generated over 400 conversions in a month. How can you do the same for me? Put him on the spot. Hey, you did it for Jeff. Do it for me, Scott. Do it for me. I want 400 conversions in this month or next month. All right. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a good day. Bye.